Today we're going to learn how to do this masking text reveal animation. This is going to be a two-part animation tutorial where the first tutorial is going to be more about how to do the animation in the text reveal with the mask. And the second part of this tutorial is going to be more advanced, where I'm not going to cover all of the details of how I animated the camera. It's going to be more about how to generate a 3D mesh with SoDef and then be able to get that and plug it into After Effects to be able to work with it and use it in a 3D scene. So if you're confident in your After Effects abilities, go ahead and click on up into this link right here, so that way you can hop over to the second video where you can learn all about that. But if you're not so confident and you'd like to learn how to do this text reveal animation, we can start here, and then hopefully we can get you up to speed where you can then take this and move on to the second part of the tutorial. So the first thing we're gonna do to get started is we are going to start with creating a new composition. I'm gonna be doing 3840 by 2160, which is 4K. I'm gonna be doing 23.976 frames a second, and I'm going to change my duration to 10 seconds. We are going to hit Control T on our keyboard to get our type tool here, and I'm going to just click, and we are going to type our first word or first sets of words. So I will type how to, and then I'm going to hit Control Enter to confirm the text. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to hit Control Alt Home to put our anchor point in the center of our layer, and then I'm going to come down here and I'm just going to center this text in the middle of our composition. Now that we have the text centered and everything is set up like this, we can go ahead and duplicate our text by hitting Control D on our keyboard. We can double click on into here and we can type out our next word. And another thing to note, in the example at the beginning of this video, I used multiple words here to show off this animation. From a standpoint of practically using this animation, I have only ever probably done about 2 to 3 sets of words for revealing. I'm gonna just stick with doing 2 text layers here. Basically, once you do the first part of this, all you do is essentially you repeat the first step over and over for the amount of times you need to reveal some text. But now that we have our text like so, I'm going to scroll in here and we are going to start drawing our line that will reveal the text in the mask. So to do so, we are going to hit G on the keyboard to give us our pen tool. And then without being selected on any layers, I am just going to click a little diagonal line like so. Now that we have our line, we can come up to here, we can turn off our fill, and we can turn on our stroke. I'm going to have mine set to 35 pixels. I as well am going to hit Control Alt Home on the keyboard to put our anchor point in the center here. And then I am going to align this from top to bottom. Now that I have this in the middle of our screen, what we're going to do is come over here, hit our drop down, and then we're going to go to this little arrow that says Add. And we are going to come up here and we are going to find our trim paths. From there, we open our trim paths and we can set both of these to 50%. We can go ahead and set ourselves a keyframe on both the start and end. And I'm going to hit F9 on the keyboard to easy ease them. And then I'm going to come out about 12 frames and I'm going to set this start one to 100%. And then I'm going to end the end one at 0%. From there, I'm going to come into the graph editor. I'm going to zoom in here, hit V on the keyboard, select this set of keyframes, and I'm going to pull them over to the right, and that's just going to change our speed editor here for the line to start like so. But now that we have that like that, we can come back over to our regular timeline editor, and I'm going to go in between this set of keyframes somewhere about here, and we are going to click on here, hit P on our keyboard to pull up our position keyframe. And all I'm going to do is hit the stopwatch to get our first keyframe on position. I'm going to hit F9 to easy ease it again, and then I'm going to move out to a little bit after 1 second, and I am going to grab the left set of the array, and I'm going to pull this to slide across screen. Then I'm going to come over here to the graph editor, and I am also going to do the same thing here. I'm going to pull this point over here to the right, so that way it starts slower and moves faster. Then I'm going to select back on here, hit U on the keyboard so I can see all of our keyframes. And normally, like I was saying, for this type of animation, normally it's just one wipe across screen, and then we could copy, time reverse these keyframes, and basically have the line close out, and it just reveals one new word behind it. But just to get the point across, I'm going to duplicate this text as well really quickly, come in here and go how to animate text. But what we would do is we would come over here, we would slide out to around 2 seconds as well, and then I would copy this first keyframe and then paste it again so that way it slides back across the text. And like I was just mentioning, what we can do is we can copy these keyframes right here, and we can hit Control V, right click, keyframe assistant, and time reverse keyframe, so that way it does the opposite of what we set up over here. So now that we have the line going across our text like so, we can start getting into the part of the animation where we get to actually reveal this text. And how we're going to do that is we are going to come over here and we are going to click on our pen tool, and I'm going to pull our playhead to over here right before our line starts crossing the text. And I'm going to then come down here, and I'm actually going to turn off these two layers so that way they are not in the way for now. But with the one that is still on, we are going to select that layer. With the pen tool selected, we are going to draw this rough shape right here. And the biggest emphasis is putting the line right here through the line that we made. But now that we have our mask, what we are going to do is we are going to drop down our mask, and we are going to hit this button right here, the stopwatch on mask path. And what we're going to do is we're going to go frame by frame. We are going to select just the front two, but what we are going to do is basically we are going to hit page down to move to the next keyframe, and then we are going to right arrow and cover up this line, or at least put our mask line where the line is, and like that you can start to see that our letter is appearing now, and you can keep repeating this process till you have the whole text revealed. Okay, so now that we have gotten our mask to reach across, revealing it on screen, we basically have to do the exact opposite to get it off of screen. So to continue the animation here, we are going to click on our mask again. Just note that we want to box select just those keyframes that are over the line. And again, we are just going to hit page down to keep moving through the frames, and just keep left arrowing to get our mask to line up with this line. Okay, perfect. And just like that, we have it revealing on and off of screen. And now all we have to do is we have to do the exact same thing to get animate to appear on screen and off screen, and vice versa as well with the text layer that says text. Okay, so just like that, if we bring this back to the start and we hit play, we can see that the line animates on, reveals how to animate, and then our line disappears. And if we did want to bring in this third text layer, again, what we can do is we could grab this right over here, which is just the ending of our trim pass for the line to disappear. And like I was mentioning earlier, it's just simply copying and pasting these position keyframes for the line to go back and forth. But essentially what you can do is you can just go back one keyframe from where you were at previously and just move forward and hit Control V to paste it again. And then you can repeat the process where we animate this text off and then we animate that text back on. But yeah, that's pretty much the core bit of this animation here. If you like this tutorial and you're feeling confident, feel free to click right here to go on over to the second part of this tutorial where we can start creating a 3D scene and incorporating what we just made into that scene. But regardless, if you did like the content, I would very much appreciate if you could give me a like, subscribe, and maybe a comment that suggests a tutorial that you would like to see here in the future. But otherwise, I really appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the next one.